Good morning, all. Psalm 78. Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to my words in my mouth, and I will open my mouth in the parable, and I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them for their children, showing to the generation to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he had done. For he has established the testimony in Jacob and appointed the law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God, and not forget the works of God, but keep the commandments, and might be as their fathers, a stubborn, rebellious generation, a generation that set their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with God. The children of Ephraim, being armed and carrying bows, turned back in the day of battle. They kept not the covenant of God, and refused to walk in his ways, and they forgot his works and his wonders that he had showed them. Marvelous things did he in the sight of the fathers of the land of Egypt, in the field of Zion. He divided the sea, and he caused them to pass through, and he made the waters to stand as a heap. In the daytime he led them with a cloud. There it is. There's the cloud. In the cloud. And he led them in the daytime also with a cloud. All the night with a light of fire. And follow the cloud by day and the fire by night. Your angel that follows you day and night. Without it, you can't live. Everybody has an angel in the middle, whether it be good or bad. He clave the rocks in the wilderness, the good ones. He gave them drink as out of the great depths. Darkness on the face of the deep. And he caused waters to run down like rivers. Not these waters here. Waters to come down like rivers. God pouring out the Spirit on all flesh. Coming from your fountain. And they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness. And they tempted God in their heart. See, we don't do that. By asking meat for their lust. They speak against God. They said, can God furnish a table in the wilderness? He can not only furnish a table, he will build it. Behold, he smote the rock that the waters gushed out. That is us. That's not the rock on a mountain. Waters gushed out and streamed and overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people? The word. Therefore the Lord heard this and was wroth. So fire kindled against Jacob. And anger also came up against Israel because they believed not in God. They don't even know who God is, let alone believe in him. That's They created a new God of the Bible and trusted not in his salvation. You can lose salvation, they say. That is a death sin teaching. Though he had commanded the clouds from above, once again, your angel. And he opened the doors of heaven and he rained down manna on you. And God pouring his spirit out upon them to eat the spirit, the word. And he gave them the corn of heaven, the bread, same thing. Man did eat angels' food. That's what we're eating now. Has to be taught through an angel to be an angel food, though. If the guy doesn't have an angel in him, he doesn't have the food. Hold on a sec. I have to get a drink. Sorry, guys. And they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness. That's what we do. And they tempted God in their heart by asking for meat and lust. And yea, they spoke against God. They said, can God furnish the table of the wilderness? Behold, he smote the rock of the waters, gushed out, and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread, also provide flesh for the people? Therefore the Lord heard this, and he was wroth, and fire kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel, us, because they believed not in God, and trusted not in their salvation. Through they had commanded the clouds from above, and opened the doors of heaven. They never teach you what the clouds are. The church never teaches you that, your angel. They hide you. Okay, they don't believe in the Godhead and the angels is theirs. You don't go to heaven. Open the doors of heaven. Those are the gates. And he had rained down manna upon them to eat, and he had given them corn. He did eat angels' food, and he sent them meat to the full to fill them. He caused them to eat wind, spirit, to blow in heaven. Anybody says that wind is not spirit? I heard a lady teaching that wind is not spirit. They're our false teacher. And his power he brought in south wind. He rained flesh also upon as dust, and feathered fowls, like the sand of the sea, everywhere. Not fowls, birds, evil, demons, and he let it fall in front of the midst of their camp. Anytime it says middle or midst, that's up there, round about her habitations, round about their habitations, sorry. So they did not eat and were well filled, for he gave them their own desire. They were not estranged from their lusts, but while their meat was yet in their mouths, the wrath of God came upon them and slew the fattest of them, and smote down the chosen men of Israel. For all this they sinned still, and they believe not for his wondrous works. They don't believe him. They don't know him, yet along they don't know his works. Therefore their days did not consume in vanity, or did he consume in vanity in their years in trouble. When he slew them, then they sought him, and they returned and acquired early after God. This is what we go through. Okay, this is what's going back to sin, coming back and going back to sin and having troubles. Then we go through all this trouble. God's woken us up. How did he wake me up? Through almost beating to death. And you remember that God was their rock and their high God and their Redeemer. Their rock. Each and every individual has an own rock. Nevertheless, they did flatter him with their mouth, and they lied unto him with their tongues, for their heart was not right with him. Neither did they steadfast in his covenant, but he, being full of compassion, forgave their iniquity and destroyed them not. This is us. This is about the times that we go through sin and get out of it. And he should have destroyed us. This guy was in sin. For he remembered that they were but flesh, beast. And the wind passes away, that cometh not again. That one doesn't come again. How often did provoke him in the wilderness and grieve him in the desert? Wilderness, desert. Desert is a dry place. Wilderness isn't. The desert's drying up when you're drying up. When you turn into a desert or a wilderness. Yea, turned back, tempted God, and limited the Holy One of Israel. They remembered not his hand, nor the day when he delivered them from their enemy, or how he wrought his signs in Egypt and the wanderers in the field of Zion. You could never forget what God has done for you. And turn their rivers into blood. Not rivers. Want to kill. And their food that they could not drink. This food. He sent divers sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs, which destroyed them. Today, we're talking about today. He also gave their increase unto the caterpillar, unto the small. This is what we're in today, another book. 20 books. And their labor into the locust. He destroyed their vines with hail, and their sycamore trees with frost. He gave up their cattle also the hail, and their flocks to hot thunderbolts. And their flocks to hot thunderbolts. He cast upon them fierceness with his anger, wrath, and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels amongst them. There you go. You do something evil, it comes back on you. I recompense your recompense back on your head. He made a way to his anger. He spread not their soul from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence. He smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength, in the tabernacles of Ham, but made his own people to go forth like sheep and guided them into the wilderness like a flock. He led them on safety so that they feared not, but the sea overwhelmed their enemies. The sea overwhelmed their enemies, not water. The sea is us, Bordello. It's called, there's a name for it. Oceania. That's all. That's the all. That's the black hole sun that we travel on and never left, and made the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. And they tempted and provoked the Most High God, and they kept not his testimonies. They don't have testimonies. The church people don't have testimonies. You know why? Because these guys that are in the church were born with golden spoons in their mouth. Baby churchlings. Grown up in false churches their whole lives. Groomed for this. But turned back and dealt unfaithfully like their fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful bow. This is all about the church, guys. They provoked him to anger with their high places, making their own gods, and moved him to jealousy with their graven images. Jesus. When God heard this, he was wroth. He greatly abhorred Israel, so that he forsake the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent which was placed among men, and delivered his strength into the captivity, and to his glory into the enemy's hand. He gave his people over also unto the sword, and was wroth with his inheritance. He was wroth with his inheritance. You. See, many times were given over. Fire consumed their young men, and their maidens were not given into marriage. Their priests fell by the sword, and their widows made no lamentation. See, this is something that they never stop. And then the Lord awakened us out of the sleep, and like a mighty man shutteth by the reason of wine, and he smote his enemies in the hinder parts, and he put them in a perpetual reproach. Moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph, and chose not the tribe of Ephraim, but chose the tribe of Judah, the mount of Zion, which he loved, and he built his sanctuary like high places, like the earth which he hath established forever. So we're stable. We have been established already. People will say he's establishing you. Wow, in a sense, but in a sense, no. He chose David also his servants, and took him for the sheepfold. The following ewes great with young he brought him to feed Jacob his people and Israel inheritance. So he fed them according to integrity of his heart. How much? He'll feed you to how much you want. And guided them by his skillful hands. You're one of the hands. Man, that wasn't very long to get through that one. 79, oh God. The heathen are come into thy inheritance. The holy temple have they defiled. They have laid Jerusalem on the heaps. The dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be for meat unto the fowls of heaven. What does that mean? They're given dead bodies, Jesus Christ. Jesus, for meat. Here, worship the flesh. Right there. It knows that they're doing that, even before they did it. The flesh of thy saints into the beasts of the earth. Their blood have they shed like water. Their truth. Round about Jerusalem there was none to bury them. We were become a reproach to our neighbors, and a scorn and desertion to them that are round about us. Yep. How long wilt thou be angry for? forever. Shall thy jealousy burn like fire? Pour out thy wrath upon the heathen, that they have not known thee. You see? Pour out thy wrath on thy heathen. He is praying to pour out wrath on the heathen. I thought you're to love them. Pour out thy wrath upon the heathen, that thou have not known thee, and upon the kingdoms have not called upon thy name. We call upon another name. So important. Pour out the wrath upon the heathen. He's praying for the heathen to be destroyed. Not only is he going up against him, he's wishing for wrath to come upon him. Now, I don't do that. But just to tell you, if you know what they are, you're not sinning. Because you know that he is put in your life. You created him. You put him there before you came. That's a very good one. Pour out the wrath. He's getting tired of them, for they have devoured me, and they laid waste dwelling place. Oh, remember, not against us former iniquities. Let thy tender mercies speedily prevent us, for we are brought very low lots of times. Help us, O God of our salvation, for the glory of thy name, not anybody else's, and deliver us and purge away our sins for the name's sake. How does he purge it away? Well, he just told you. You're going to go through lots of trouble. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is their God? Let him know among the heathen in our sight by the ravaging of the blood of the servants which he shed. Let the sighing of the prisoners come before thee according to the greatness of thy power, of your power. Preserve those that are appointed to die. See that are appointed to die. They're already appointed to die, guys. They've already been condemned. Why do you think they're fighting so hard? And a reminder to the neighbors, sevenfold into their bosom. There's the seven. Their reproach, what they have reproached these, O Lord, so thy people and sheep of thy pasture will give thanks forever, and will show forth thy praise to the generation. Help. Give ear, O shepherd of Israel, that thou leadest Joseph like a flock, that thou dwellest between the cherubims and shine forever. Anyways, I'm done for the day. I gotta go to work. I'll be on later. It's my morning study. God bless. God has blessed.